Deryck Whibley of Sum 41's autobio, Walking Disaster, My Life Through Heaven and Hell, covers his life from birth all the way up to his decision to disband Sum 41. And there are three things that are readily apparent. Deryck has a really hard name to spell. He's completely obsessed with pools, and mine and his lives are exactly the same. Yeah, the word pool just might appear in his book more times than Sum 41. It turns out that rock isn't what Deryck Whibley is all about, but taking a dip in a pool. And I like water too, so me and him are water Eskimo brothers in that regard. Me and Deryck's lives are virtually identical up until the point where he gets a little bit luckier and marries Avril Lavigne, which I guess I dodged a bullet and walked across a landmine with that one, if you know what I'm saying. Wink, wink. I swam through this book on Spotify, and I'll say right out of the gate, it's the most fun I've had with an audiobook. I have spent my life with paperbacks and hardback books and encyclopedias and dictionaries, and I've always liked to read them the old-fashioned way. I was born in 1985, so I'm old. I'm very, very, very old. But Deryck is older. He's 5 years older. Oh my God. But Deryck reads this one himself. He narrates the audiobook, and he does an excellent job at keeping me interested, at keeping you interested, both in delivery and his wording. He's clearly a talented writer in many regards. His childhood is somewhat normal and a little bit on the rougher side, and his earliest musical taste, like the Monkees, really reminded me of growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. Deryck, again, he was born in 1980, so he's just about 5 years older than me. So that makes sense. I challenge you in the comment section to find a rock biography without the rock and roll cliches. There may be a few, but Deryck with a Y, like the cliche itself, acknowledges that he has to navigate around these things. Only, he thought that he could navigate around them only to find himself in those places, only to become the big rock and roll cliche himself. And yes, his former manager, Greg Norrie, is a massive, looming shadow that once you read it, it kind of casts that shadow over a huge swath of Sum 41's career, which it doesn't ruin it, but it puts a different spin on things for sure. For Sum 41, it's from them being discovered all the way through Chuck, is this giant shadow that looms over. It's nefarious, it's deviant in the worst way possible, not in a fun way, but in a very negative way. Even on the albums after Chuck, there's anger and rage from the pain that he's caused Deryck over the years in these songs. And even up to probably on Heaven and Hell, there's a little bit of that as well. The meaning of Sum 41 songs is a big thing, and it's a defining positive of this book. Deryck explains that Sum 41 got a lot of criticism about singing about girls. Not one Sum 41 song is about a breakup between Deryck and a girl. They don't have any breakup songs. All of his lyrics are way darker than that. From friends being diagnosed with terrible diseases, a lot of horrible abuse and death and things like that, and war and tragedies. Here's a funny thing about his lyrics, though. Did you know that Never Wake Up, the song, has no lyrics? It's melodic gibberish, and it was put on the album like that. It was recorded with gibberish. Any lyrics that you or anyone else has posted on the internets, they're wrong. And you are wrong, and they are wrong, and you should maybe receive a fat lip for doing that. You should not be doing that. That was a reference to Emil and the Sniffers. Probably say that wrong too. I say everything wrong because I'm not a Canadian, and I have a bit of anxiety. When Deryck isn't performing with Sum 41 or dating all the famous ladies from the double alt decade, he's in a swimming pool a lot, or tracking down where the nearest swimming pool is a lot, or filming a music video in a swimming pool a lot. And he really likes to say pool in that Canadian accent of his. And like, I hit up the lake. I'm mostly a lake guy, but I go to the beach. I like the pools. I would say lake, pool, and then beach. So pools are good. They're in the middle from time to time, but no. Deryck would rather spend his entire life in a hotel swimming pool or a multi-million-dollar Golden Castle swimming pool other than doing anything else in life. I was surprised at how much other people's business ends up in this book. Like, he calls a lot of famous people out for being jerks or worse. And in the Sum 41 history, a lot of people look bad. I wasn't familiar with Greg Norrie or his band Treble Charger, so that wasn't very traumatic for me to learn that Mr. Norrie did these bad things. I'm sure all the other guys in the Sum 41 sphere have their own side of this story, which their side almost definitely makes Deryck look a lot worse with his alcoholism and his drug use. Because even Deryck paints himself as somewhat of a pretty outrageous, controversial character. When Brown Sound leaves the band, Deryck doesn't really say a whole lot about it. He just kind of lets him go. Like, he doesn't really even care if he goes or stays. He doesn't question it. He doesn't fight it. He just lets it happen. We don't get a lot of dirt on. We don't get any dirt about that one. Just he went and he was gone. So, but Steve-O, if you're watching this, hi. I just recently subscribed to your YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. Much love. Let's just say Deryck and Steve-O were not kind to each other for a lot of the time from Deryck's point of view. And Cone kind of aligned himself with Steve-O, and Deryck felt like it was everybody against him. But even from Deryck's perspective, I think it's easy to see that a lot of the problems were his addictions and alcohol abuse that were the reason for everyone around him's anger. Like, yeah, everyone around you is betraying you and being mean to you and yelling at you. It's probably because you're in a drug and alcohol-fueled state of like buttholishness. I don't know. But, and probably the same thing goes for the Avril situations as well. It's easy to read it and say, man, she did him wrong. It's easy to read it and say, man, Steve-O was yelling at him a lot. But I think they had justifications for treating him the way. But we're all human, right? We all are human. We all do bad. We all do good, right? There's no good guys. There's no bad guys. So even when I was reading it, I was thinking to myself, I bet Steve-O had a good reason. I bet Dave had a good reason. I bet Cone. Everybody has justifications in their own mind on their side of things. So Deryck is telling his side, and that most of these people were against him, and Sum 41 did disband a few times, and were always kind of on the brink of destruction over the last 4 albums. As like the first few albums were like, filled with drama from Greg, but then the last few were kind of filled with drama around Deryck kind of going bonkers a little bit. Screaming Bloody Murder in particular was fueled by Deryck's demons, and in 2011 the record label kind of shifting from rock being the master genre to getting knocked down a peg by pop and rap music. And Deryck was having booze problems and health issues, and man, 2012 something was wrong with that year, man. I was drinking a lot, getting divorced. Deryck was drinking way more than me, getting divorced. Jilly Bow Leg Week was screaming about 1 minute, and Usher and God Love You All, we'll be back. He smashed a guitar, for goodness gracious sake. What was going on in 2012? I had to Google who the president was, and I don't think it was Barack's fault, but it might have been your fault. I don't know. 2012 was a bad year for drunken depravity. Yeah, I tell you. I wish streaming would allow for viewing of digital photos or album liner notes and pages, because Deryck put a lot of color photos in this. But alas, I missed all those full color snapshots. I'm not paying for it. I don't have book money right now. But Deryck included a lot in the book, so if you want to get the hard copy, I think there is a lot you could get in addition to the audiobook. But Deryck was doing some cool voices. Like, he sounded like Iggy Pop. He sounded like Scott Weiland. He did a Scott Weiland impression. He did an Iggy Pop impression. He sang the songs. When you would get to a part where he was talking about a song, he would play it on piano in the audiobook. That can't be in the hardback copy. Can it? Can it? It could be, I guess, somehow. Walking Disaster walks you past all the sex and drugs and stories with a little bit of rock and roll as well. I always want more information about the writing and production of music and albums, like the recording sessions and stuff like that. But I guess we've got to leave some mystery to rock and roll. Deryck's life story from 1980 to 2023 or thereabouts is a really entertaining and story, and one with all the ups and downs of being a big rock star. A real 4.7 out of 5 read if there ever was one. And now Deryck Whibley, sober with wife and kids and more money than he knows what to do with. One thing is for certain, we have not heard the last of Deryck Whibley.